sometimes not working on my phone, sometimes not working on the iPad. So whoever pops on, let me know. I know it's late and a lot of you might not see this, but hopefully people will come and rewatch. I've been getting a lot of messages and a lot of comments, especially a lot of messages on Instagram, like more than I can answer, wondering about Ebby. One, wondering how his treatment has gone, because we had his treatment this past Thursday and Friday, and I haven't had any video updates on that yet. We actually film our videos. We're usually about a week ahead. So like whatever you usually see is at least 3 to 5 days behind. So like you won't see his, what we did with him in the hospital until probably Tuesday or so. Let me just read your comments. Make sure you guys are on here. How are you? Hi. Okay, so you guys can hear me, I'm assuming. Let's see. Yeah, it sounds like it. Okay. Anyways, let's see. What happened to the puppy? I'll talk about his puppy too, actually, on here. We've had a lot of questions about his puppy too. I was planning on doing a video on that. It keeps freezing. Darn it. Hopefully it's your internet. Hopefully if it's freezing for you, it's your internet. If anybody else is having a problem, let me know. And if it's like a lot of people are having a problem, I will restart the video. Anyways, so yeah, so I've had a lot of questions about that, how he's doing. But also on top of that, I had a ton of questions in comments, Instagram messages, Instagram comments, Facebook messages about how he was diagnosed with PANDAS, why he has it, how did we know he had it, what were the symptoms and all that stuff. And I have made a playlist of videos. We have filmed his whole journey, but I think maybe some information has been left out just because for a long time, we didn't know what was wrong with Ebby, and we didn't know what we should share and what we shouldn't share because it was a big deal, and we didn't want to give any kind of false information. So some things we were vague on, things we should, to just come on here and do a video for you guys and answer your questions. So if you have a question about Ebby's diagnosis or his treatment plan or any of that stuff or his past history, ask it in capital letters, all capital letters in the comments, and I'll try my best to answer you. But I want to share some pictures, and I especially want to share, I was not sure I wanted to share this, but I think it's important because I know there's a lot of families out there who are struggling with their kids who have had similar issues, and we really want to raise awareness to PANDAS syndrome. And you guys, for all of exactly what PANDAS syndrome stands for, and you can go to a website called pandasnetwork.com. So do that. When this video is over, I will post a link in the description. But I am going to show you guys a video of Ebby after he was sick and with the PANDAS before we were treated. And so if you guys don't want to see him the way that he was, I will warn you before I play the video. But I want to start, well, first I'm going to read some of your comments because what was the first symptoms that you noticed with Ebby? From Carly Dawn. Some of the first symptoms we noticed with him after he was sick and he was 18 months old. And he started to bang his head on the floor or on the wall. Anything would kind of make him upset, and it was really weird and random to us because he had never been like that before. But he could drop his toy on the floor and be upset about it, and he would bang his head on the floor. And it was actually kind of scary because he would get bruises right here, and I mean he was little and he has little brains. This is Ebby when he was born. He was just a couple of days old. He was so cute, and he was born 2 days before Christmas, and he was such a sweet little guy. Here's another picture of him when he was born. Sorry, there's a little bit of a reflection, but you get it. He's adorable. Let me move the computer a little bit. When it comes to PANDAS, does it affect kids directly or less drastically, or is it all around pretty much the same? Actually, with PANDAS, the symptoms can be very severe mild, moderate. It can range anywhere from OCD to looking like it. So PANDAS presents as OCD. It can present as autism or ADHD, bipolar, OCD, so PTSD, which is what a doctor told us originally that they thought Ebi had was PTSD. We didn't really agree with that diagnosis because we were like, why would he have that? But we're not doctors, right? So we're trusting what the doctors say. But it can present in a wide range. Let's see. Is PANDAS genetic? It is not genetic at all. It is actually caused from bacteria that gets into the body, and it is strep bacteria. So, for instance, the best way to explain it is if you've ever had strep throat, and a lot of us have had that. I know I had it a lot when I was a kid. That strep bacteria can move into the gut. Now, if it moves into the gut, it gets in your bloodstream. And once the strep is in your bloodstream, it crosses the blood-brain barrier, which makes your brain create antibodies that are not good for your body. They actually attack your own brain cells, and it can change your personality. So it can change the way you react to all kinds of situations. It causes anger, aggression. It can even cause tics. Like some people will have tics, or like they keep moving their fingers a lot, or they get OCD and they get like very emotional, all kinds of things. But that PANDAS Network website I told you guys about when I first popped on here, that explains everything. Let's see. I heard you can get PANDAS from RSV. That is true. Yes, you can get PANDAS from RSV because strep does not just go into your body from just like strep throat. That was just an example. You can get it multiple different ways. You can even get it from vaccinations. There's everything's on that website. Okay, let's see. Here's Ebi at 11 weeks old. He was getting chubby and fat. Isn't he cute? He was such a doll. So cute. And then here's him. I'm trying to see when this was. This was March of 2014. I wish there wasn't a glare. He was so cute. Just a little ham. I mean, look at that little face. He was so fat. Let's see. I will do shout outs at the end. A lot of people want to shout outs at the end. I will give you guys all a shout out. Let's see. Do you have to explain what PANDAS is to the doctor? No, we don't have to explain. I mean, so some PANDAS is, has not been, like the PANDAS diagnosis has not been around for a long time. I want to say the last 10 years it has been known. A lot of kids who get diagnosed with like autism, ADHD, OCD, even like childhood bipolar actually could have PANDAS. So a lot of them are misdiagnosed. I think if you are a parent looking into that, I would say, was your child born with it? Because for us, we were like, Ebi was born perfect. Nothing was wrong with him. He was sweet. He was kind. He was gentle. He slept all the time. He didn't have any kind of colic or reflux. Like he was like the perfect baby. And then he got sick. So that was kind of like what I was going to lead into. This is him in October of 2014. This was when we were in Montana. He was such a ham. I mean, look at that face. He was like a happy-go-lucky baby. Nothing upset him. He was just smiling all the time, and he made lots of eye contact. He was super, super good baby. And then this, let's see. I'm just going to show you this. He started to get sick. And this was like, I want to say he was 18 months old. I'll look at the date in a minute. This was 2 days before he really got sick. We noticed he had a high fever, and this was me in the bathtub with him trying to cool off his fever. And he was sleeping. He wouldn't wake up. He was very lethargic. And like I said, he was 18 months old, so we didn't know exactly what was wrong with him. Let me see. This was the day before he got really sick. This was the day before. and it was, let me find a date for you guys. Oh, I guess I didn't snapshot the date. I screenshotted these from my personal Instagram account. This was before he got sick. He was so cute. He was super happy. This was actually the day we did a gender reveal when I was pregnant with Shepherd. So he was all dressed up. This was the same day outside. This night actually was the night that he got the fever, where you see me in the bath with him. He got the fever this night. Actually, in this scene, in this picture, we noticed he felt a little bit warm. And that was kind of when we took him inside and thought, okay, something's not right. He's, you know, sick. We took his temperature, and I from like my memory, I remember that his temperature was 101, which was really unusual for our kids. Our kids don't tend to get sick very often, and he had never been sick up to this point. He had never even had a cold up till this point. I mean, maybe he had like a stuffy nose, but nothing. Let's see, have you seen his speech improvement? Yes, we have seen a big speech improvement. I know everybody on here does not watch all of our vlogs, and that is understandable because who has time to watch all the videos? But yes, if you go back and look prior to August of 2017, you will see little eye contact, and his speech was not good at all. After that, especially if you look from November till present, so November of 2017 to present, his speech has improved dramatically. You see a lot more eye contact. Oh, thank you, spoiler. Oh, I'm sorry, I just read your comment. That was really sweet. Yeah, we do have super chats on there, and we really appreciate when anyone ever does that. And it like blows me away. I never know what to say when people do the super chat. It's really sweet. Okay, I want to show you guys when he got sick, and this always makes me emotional because it was really scary. When he got sick, the day after he got sick, oh, where is he? He's actually in bed. You guys, I did this video. I contemplated having him awake and a part of the video, but he's 4 and he's not really going to sit through the video. And I really wanted to make this video so that everyone who's been asking about him and his story, that you guys could get like all of my attention with telling his story. Because I think it's really important that we share it and that we spread awareness about it, because it is really sad. We've had a lot of, well, I wouldn't say a lot, probably about 4 of our viewers who have seen Ebby's story got their kid who was previously diagnosed with like autism or something tested for PANDAS, and it came back that they actually had PANDAS and were able to get cured. So that to me is like, sharing his story is so important, because who else might be suffering, and this is a curable thing. So so that night after the picture that I showed you guys, he got sick. He had a fever. We went to bed. We gave him Tylenol, went to bed. And that morning I woke up, and he was still co-sleeping with us at that time. I woke up and I figured he'd be awake already. I was like, why is he not awake yet? I was kind of weirded out by that. It was like 8 o'clock, and for him, he usually woke up at 7. And I looked over, and he just was kind of almost gargly sounding. And so I picked him up, and he had this huge, like, it looked like a golf ball or bigger in his neck, like a huge lump in his neck. And I was freaked out. So I picked him up, and I immediately put him in the car. I took him to an urgent care clinic, the closest one that was to our house, because he was still breathing. Like, I didn't feel like it was an emergency. It was just freaking me out that he had this huge thing on his neck, and he just was so lethargic. And I could feel in clinic. They saw him right away, and they tested him and said that he had strep throat. Now, I believed strep throat because some kids in our neighborhood had strep throat, and so I figured they're all playing together, so of course that would make sense that he probably had it too. So I didn't think a lot of it. I just thought that was his body was responding to strep throat. They gave us some antibiotics, and they sent us home. A couple of hours after we went home, he had taken a nap, and I didn't want to leave him alone with that on him, so I actually I was like laying down with him, and halfway through his nap, I noticed he was like not breathing well. And so I picked him up, and he was just like limp. He was not moving, and he actually had a couple of seconds where he stopped breathing. And so I was totally freaked out. I took him into the ER. So the ER was only a few minutes from our house, so I knew it was going to be faster for me to just drive him there than it would for me like call 911 and get them out and then get him there, because we were literally like really close to the emergency room. So anyways, I put him in the car. We got to the emergency room, and they took him back right away. They pretty much, as soon as they saw me, I was like, he is having a hard time breathing. And so they took him into the back. And that was when things got more scary, because the ER doctor had come in, and he said, he's having a really hard time breathing. And if he drops in his oxygen and his pulse rate, we're going to have to intubate him. We're going to give him some steroids. Right now, they had started an IV, and they gave him steroids. I think they gave him steroids in the IV. That you can do that. I'm sure they did. They also did the steroid, like the nebulizer, and then they gave him some liquid. They gave him a ton of like stuff when we got there. And he's just like limp, just like not there at all. And that was really scary. So they didn't end up having to do any kind of intubation or anything. The steroids did bring his swelling down enough where he started breathing again, and his pulse came back up, and his oxygen levels came back up. And I'm going to show you guys a picture of him in the hospital. This was a picture of him. This was after they had gotten, this was actually the second day he was in the hospital, after they had got the lump down a little bit. I'll show you guys the lump. If you don't want to see a child with a huge lump in their neck, maybe don't look at this picture. It's up to you. But I'm going to show you guys. You can see this huge, right there. That was the third day. So this is actually a lot smaller than it was when we went in. And he was feeling better. This was the first time he had eaten anything. They gave him popsicles and stuff because he couldn't swallow a lot at this point. And so basically, I have some more pictures I'll show you in a minute. He was on antibiotics on the IV for 3 days in the hospital. They did a bunch of tests. They drew his blood multiple times. They did an ultrasound of the lump in his neck. The lump in his neck ended up being his lymph node that at one point the doctor said was the size of a grapefruit. And that was really scary, because why is a lymph node swollen to that degree on an 18-month-old baby? They did a bunch of blood tests. They tested him for all kinds of things. They tested him for, there's just like too many tests. Whatever they could test through the blood, they did. His white blood cell count was very high. And the doctor had come into us at one point and said, I just want to be upfront with you guys. And it's not that we want to scare you. But his white blood cell count is so high that he could have leukemia. And that was probably the scariest moment, because you don't want to hear that. You don't want it to be a parent who hears your child might have leukemia or cancer, or that's just something you never want to hear when it's your baby. And so we were obviously very scared. But they did that test, and they had like a stat order on it. And that test, thank the Lord, came back negative. In fact, all of his tests that they did came back negative. On paper, he looked like a very healthy child. They couldn't find anything wrong with him other than that he had strep throat, which at that point was already coming back negative, because he had been on antibiotics for like 4 days at that point. Sorry, I'm going to adjust for a minute because I'm getting cramped. And so here's a picture. These, I couldn't find the individual pictures of these. This was like a little collection I put together, and this was him in the hospital. Some from different days, some are the same. And you can see his lump, that one where he's standing up, his face, you can see his whole neck is just swollen like crazy. It was a tough time, honestly, like I'm not gonna lie. We were pretty scared. You know, when you have your baby swollen like that and you're in the hospital for so many days, it's scary, you know. After the 4 days he was hospitalized, they had asked us and pretty much had said, do you guys want to keep doing tests? Because they could keep doing tests on him to find out why his white blood cell count was that high, but they were talking about like the spinal tap. And we were like, I want to do it. Like, he's so little, you know, you don't want to like do a spinal tap, right? And so we decided, and the doctor decided, his advice was, let's not like do any kind of invasive testing on him. He's getting better. The antibiotics are working. Go home. They sent us home on check up on him in a week. If he's still doing really well, we will just keep going. And if this ever happens again, or if he ever gets sick to this point, we will reevaluate, like we will be doing like the spinal tap and the test. And so we went with that. We took his advice. We went home. And he never got sick like that again. Up till this day, he has never been sick like that again. He's never had an issue. However, very, very quickly after we brought him home from the hospital, his personality changed. And he went from a sweet, loving, just really good baby to major struggles. He, like I said in the beginning, he started to bang his head on the floor for like no reason. He could drop a toy. We could just say, not right now. It could be anything. And he just would like throw himself on the floor and start banging his head as hard as he could. It was really scary. And as a parent, you're like, what do I do? Like, you can't like stop him from doing that. Like we did, obviously we picked him up and like would hold him. But the other thing that changed with him, before this, he was a super cuddly baby. After his sickness, it was like if he was upset and mad, you could not go and comfort him. You could not go and pick him up and give him a hug. He would flip out and go complete ballistic. It was not good. We would try like hold him and comfort him, and he would just scream and scream and scream, and he would close his eyes and like make no eye contact. It was terrifying. That he did that for months. And then when he did finally stop hitting his head, and it went from hitting his head to having a lot of aggression to anybody. It didn't matter if he was a part of the family. Now this part of the story, you guys, if you guys, anybody that's watching does not want to hear how a kid could act, I guess, very badly, you might not want to listen. Because I have a hard time saying it, and I don't know. Anyways, I'm just giving you discretion there. So he would get angry to the point where he would throw things at people, hit people, scream at people. I will give you guys a couple of instances of stories. For instance, one time, several times, this is just one example, but this happened a lot. We'd take him into public, go to the grocery store. And this one time I was in the store, he next to me, and we were in the bread aisle, and he picked up like some kind of bread. It was like like a sugar bread, like cinnamon sugar swirl bread or something. And I told him no, we weren't going to buy it. And just telling him no, that we were not going to buy it, made him lose his mind completely. I mean, he lost his mind. He threw himself on the floor and started screaming. And then he got back up and threw all the bread on the ground, and he was screaming. Now, some of you, it's like one of those situations, it's very embarrassing. I was so horrified. But if you don't have a kid, if you've never experienced having a child who has a medical problem, which at the time we didn't know was PANDAS, but you could look at him as someone who may have had like autism or ADHD. Those types of children, when you go to try to stop the event that's happening, it makes it worse. Now, if you've ever gone through that, please leave it in the comments, because other people need to realize that it's not like something you can control, because they are not in their mind. They're not processing. Those antibodies that are being created have taken the sensible part of their brain where it says, hey, mom just said no. I mean, it's not like a big deal. It takes that reason, whatever you want to call it, like them being able to make reason of it. And they just go ballistic. They don't know how to deal with it because their brain has been kind of taken over by the negative antibodies. And so when we would go try to like help him, it would make it worse, like 10 times worse. He'd be screaming more and throwing a fit, and you couldn't do anything about it. So it was really scary. And another time, you guys, like I don't know how much to say, because I'm nervous to say so much, because Ebby is an awesome kid. He has PANDAS that took over his brain, like, and you can't, some people like will understand that and some people won't. Some people, like when you're in the store and your kid's doing that and they have an like a brain issue where their brain is not communicating correctly or sending the right signals, it looks like, wow, lady, you just need to control your kid. Like I felt like people looked at me like that when I was out with him, when we were having these episodes. They would look at you like, why aren't you doing something? Like, go over there. Like, wow, she obviously doesn't discipline her kid. She just lets him run wild. But that's not what it is. That's not what it is at all. You can't help a child that's like that. They won't let you. And if you try to, it makes the situation worse. They have to calm down. And what would happen is he would be in that fit in an instant like that, but then it was over just like that too. So, and when he would like stop, it was like his brain was just like, boom, like, what did I just do? Like, why did I just do that? And he would always come to me and like hug me after and say he's sorry and that it made him sad. He did not like the way that he felt and what his brain was doing to him. He hated it. He would cry that he would like tell us, I don't like it. No, I'm sorry. And he would beg us to like hug him. And, okay, so I want to share a video with you guys. And then I'll get to his PANDAS diagnosis. This was before we went to Hawaii last, when was the date? It was, okay, October 14th of 2016. I took him to the beach. This was one of the videos I could pull up, and I'm going to tell you guys, we did not film Ebby often, hardly at all, when he was having these episodes, because who wants to remember that, honestly? Like, who wants to film their kid when they're having this major crazy fit, screaming and aggression towards somebody? Like, I don't think a lot of people think, let me pull out my camera and take a video of this. So we didn't take a lot of video. Usually if it ended up on video, it was because we were trying to take a cute video of him and something set him off during the video, and that was it. So I'm just reading some of your comments. Oh, little Miss Pauline, you work with kids with autism, so you know what I'm talking about. So someone thinks we should name Cozette Aloysius. That's funny. Yeah, I want to say something about that later. That's funny. Anyways, okay, I'm going to show you guys this video. This is a warning right here. If you guys don't want to see this, please look away, because he is very angry. And if you've watched any of our vlogs, you know this is not Ebby at all. Let me watch the beginning before I show you guys really quick. Okay. Hey boys, mommy's on video, okay? Shiloh and Ezra just walked in the house. What? Yeah, I'm still on video. You guys can say hi in a little bit. Okay, guys, I'll show you this video. This was us at the beach. What do you say? Can you say no, thank you? Can you say no, thank you? Okay, that was the video, and it's always really hard for me to watch. That would be a milder episode of his. I mean, definitely a milder episode. I think Jason probably, like, yeah, you can have a little bit of that. Jason probably has, yeah, you can have that too. He probably has a worse video, but I don't want to put Ebby out there on anything worse than names. And he was just screaming. So that was not fun. And he did this all the time. He did it all the time. And he wouldn't make eye contact with you, as you could see in the video. He wouldn't reason with you. He wouldn't. It was like he just wouldn't. He just wouldn't do any of that. It sucked, you guys. Like, I can't say it any other way, but it sucked. It was hard. It was hard on our whole family because he was such a sweet baby before he got sick. And it was like we just had this whole nother kid, and like what happened to him. So basically we dealt with that for about 2 years. And we took him to different doctors and usually got a different diagnosis. But we, like, as his parents, I feel like all parents want to advocate for their child. And they don't want to take a diagnosis that is, like, right? Like, you have mom's intuition. And I knew in my heart, like, Ebby didn't have autism, PTSD, OCD, bipolar, all that. He was perfect. Like, he was not born that way, okay? Like, he didn't have any problems. So, of course, and I'm not going to do a child on harsh medications when I want to make sure that he has this, right? Like, I don't want to just be like, oh, okay, well, this one doctor said he has autism, so, or PTSD, let's just medicate a 3-year-old. Let's just do that. I don't think a lot of parents think that way, and I certainly didn't. So we, how would you go about talking to someone who has a kid that you might think has it? Oh, Carly, I feel like, okay, I just want to say this. If you know someone and you think their kid has this, I think it would be a blessing for you to go and talk to them about it. Because if someone came to me and said, hey, I see you've been struggling with your son, and I am having no judgment whatsoever. I just want to offer some advice. I heard of this, and I think it could really help your son or your daughter. I think that this could be something that, it's curable, so you might maybe get it checked out. Give them the website, give them the information. I would have been so happy and blessed if someone walked up to me and said that. It's a huge blessing. Because what happened for us is we started our vlog. We've been vlogging now for 1.5 years, or a little bit more than that. Anyways, about 1.5 years we've been vlogging. And I shared little tiny bits about Ebby in the very beginning of our vlogs. And I didn't want to share a lot because when you're vlogging and you get judged for everything. Like, it doesn't matter what you do, you're gonna be judged on something. I mean, you could like turn left when they think you should turn right, and someone's going to judge you for it. So I didn't want to share a lot about Ebby. I didn't want anybody to be like, oh, she's having this parenting problem and everything, so we need to do something, or we need to gossip about it. I don't know, whatever. But I did share little pieces, and I had a couple of people randomly just throughout the first, or probably the second half of the 6 months, message us or put comments on our videos and saying, oh, you should look into getting them tested for PANDAS. My sister had told me about PANDAS the year prior, and I just shrugged it off because we had been to talked to so many doctors and had never come to any kind of diagnosis. You can't, there's no blood test to say your kid has autism. There's no blood test to say your kid has OCD, right? So it's like, you can't go get tested for it. They just look at the symptoms and say, oh, that's a symptom of this, and your child must have that. And then they want to medicate them, right? So, Liv Carlos, the question above, sorry. If you guys have, so after we got back from Hawaii, and we got here in Utah in July, we had made a video, and I mentioned something about Epik, and on that video, someone said, hey, you should really go get your son tested for PANDAS. My son has PANDAS. Your son has all the symptoms from what you've said. And we were diagnosed first with autism and then ADHD. And you should just go get him tested for PANDAS. They gave me the website. I went on the website. I looked at the information. He did fit into a lot of categories. I looked to see if there was a pet PANDAS specialist doctor in our area, and there was, very close to us, actually. I was like, I'm desperate right now. I need to do some, whether this helps him or not. I can't not make the call, right? Because it's your kid and you do anything you can for them. So I called that day. So whoever you are who wrote that comment, if you're watching, thank you. And you have to reach out to people if you know that you can help them, because in the end, it's going to be a blessing, whether they listen the first time or not, because I didn't listen the first time. People would write that and I was like, whatever. But this comment got my attention. I called the PANDAS specialist that same day, and they were like, we have an appointment at 3:00 that same day. And I was like, are you kidding? 3:00 the same day? And I was like, okay, cool. I'll just bring him in. I had no hope whatsoever. We went into the doctor's office that day, and he was explaining to me what they do to test for PANDAS. And he goes, an easy way to test is testing for strep in the throat and the behind. And he's like, if the strep is in his gut and it's severe enough, it will show up on a test, a strep test. So they swab, right? And they just put it in that liquid and whatever. I don't know exactly how they do it, but it's a very simple, non-invasive test. And I was like, yeah, let's just test him in the throat. And he comes back in and he goes, he tested positive for strep. And I was like, what? Really? He's like, yeah, he tested with, he definitely has it. And it was a test from the behind, not to give too much information there, but, and I was just shocked, really. I was like, well, what does this mean? Tell me more. And he goes, well, if he's testing positive from the behind, it's in the gut because it's coming out, right? It's coming out in the potty area. So that's the indicator. That's what PANDAS is that strep, right? So he goes, we can start him on antibiotics today since that came back, and we don't even have to do the blood test. Because what they'll do, they can do a blood test to test for PANDAS if the strep is negative. Because if the strep is positive, it's pretty severe, but you can still have PANDAS. I want to make sure you guys know that. You can still have PANDAS if you do not test positive, or your child doesn't test positive in the office for strep tests. You can also do a blood test. But his was bad enough where it did show up. He started us on antibiotics that same day. I went to the pharmacy that same day. I got the antibiotics. It was a high dose. And he said, we're gonna do this for 30 days. For 30 days, he's going to be on a high dose of antibiotics, and you're going to, they give us these forms every single time. You fill out how they control their aggression on a level of 1 to 5, how they control their emotions, any OCD, any tics. And so you fill that out. I did it when I first went in, and it was all bad, right? It looked like he had all these diseases and stuff. And then when you go back after 3 days, you fill it out again to see if there's any improvement while on antibiotics. Well, when he started antibiotics, I'm just like, whatever, this is like, whatever, not going to be, you know, it's not going to be anything. But you guys, after a week of being on antibiotics, all of a sudden I was like, Ebby hasn't had a fit today. And I want to tell you guys, prior to this, he was having 5, 6, sometimes less, sometimes more egression fits every single day. Our family, all of us, we have so much anxiety. Like, Hanny, you just gotta come say, like, come here. Like,
my hair's a mess, though.
It's okay. No one cares. My hair's a mess. Like, I just want to get it for, like, did we not all have anxiety?
What?
About
anxiety
Ebby?
About Ebby?
About Ebby. I know you're reading, but were you listening to me?
Yes, I was listening.
Yeah. Like, Ebby, it was like, it felt like scary. Yeah. Do you want to say anything about it?
Well, I wasn't listening, but I mean, I kind of was listening at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it
was scary. She's tired. Jason gave her allergy medicine. It made her really tired. But I just want you guys to know that it was like Ebby would come into the room and we were all like, okay, don't accidentally say anything.
Yes, seriously.
Like, don't
do anything to make him scream.
Yeah, like, don't ask him for that toy, or don't even look at him. It was like, if you looked at him the wrong way, or if you stared on him, he would scream. So, anyways, thank you, Hannah. You can go. Actually, can you turn on the light in there? Because this video looks kind of dark now. We look like we're like in a dungeon. Do you guys see Cozy over there swinging?
Hey, Cozy. I really wanted her to wake up.
Because you want to hold her?
Yeah, I wanted to hold her.
I told Hannah, I was like, you can hold her while I'm on the video. Okay, go turn that on real quick. Anyways, let me try to get back to where I was. Yeah, we all had so much anxiety about if Ebby was going to get upset. Yeah, do the 4 lights. Yeah. That's better. You guys can see me better. Woo. And so after that week, we, like, you know, when you get anxiety, it's like inside, right? Like, you know, you're tipping the cup over and the cup is spilling over. And that's how it would feel. He would come in, you're like, okay, what do I do? How do I act? Like, don't want to make him upset today. And that stopped. It was like, I noticed that I could tell Ebby, like, hey, help mommy clean up the toys. And he would be like, yeah, let's clean up the toys. And I was like, oh my goodness, who is this kid? Because if you were to be like, hey, Ebby, you dropped that toy, we need to pick it up, he would scream like you saw in that video, or he would actually maybe go pick it up and like throw it at you. It was like crazy. But he completely stopped doing that. And he became more loving. He wanted you to cuddle and hug him. He started making eye contact, which was the most amazing thing that I witnessed at first, because you would talk to him prior to having antibiotics and he wouldn't really look at you in the eyes. He would kind of like turn his head or like look down, or kind of, it almost looked like he was looking past you. Like, even if his eyes were on you, it looked like he was like looking through you, not like in your eyes. And so he started like looking at us in his eyes. And I was like, oh my goodness, like, he's making eye contact with us. That's crazy. He hadn't done that in like, since he was 1, he hadn't done that. And just slowly over that month, we noticed all of these improvements. He went from having these raging maniac attacks multiple times a day to like not having them at all. And maybe he had one like once or twice at the most that whole month that he was on those antibiotics. We went back into the office after a month, and I just like, I hugged his doctor. I was like, this is like a miracle to our family. He's a different kid. He has 0 symptoms. We filled out that questionnaire again, and he was just like, yeah, well, he definitely has PANDAS, and it's treatable. And I was just like crying in the office, right? Like, if you guys look back at our videos when I was filming, and I was sharing a lot of his appointments and a lot of what was going on. And I just was crying because I was like, this is a huge miracle to our family. When you have a kid that like was diagnosed with autism or ADHD or OCD, those are incurable, right? Like you have to medicate your kids for life. And when you find out that what they have can be cured with as easy as antibiotics, it blows your mind. It just, you like can't fathom, which is why I said you need to go share it, right? Like you need to go share the story and tell people, because if there's someone else out there that can be cured, like why wouldn't you want to share that? Like why not go and tell everybody? I just want to shout it from the rooftops, because for our family, it's been a huge, huge miracle and a blessing for all of us to be able to have him back. So after he had the antibiotics, we knew, so a lot of times with PANDA patients, they can be on high doses of antibiotics. They usually keep them on there for about 60 days. And then what they'll do is they'll go down to what they call a maintenance dose, which is half of the dose. And we tried that with Evie. For 30 days, we went down to half of a dose, and his symptoms came back. He started to have aggression again. And I totally was like, I called the doctor and I was like, no, his symptoms are coming back. Like, what do we do? And he's like, okay, bring him back in. We went in, and he said, you know, sometimes with kids who have severe PANDAS and the antibodies in their brain, so the antibiotics stop those bad antibodies from creating. That's what it's doing. But once your body has ever started to create those bad antibodies, they will always, like your body thinks it needs them. And so the antibiotics keep them from not creating those antibodies. But if antibiotics, you stop taking antibiotics, they do come back. Some people can go on a low dose for, they say, to like adolescence for kids. They'll be on like a low dose of antibiotics for till adolescence age. And then their brain kind of changes and develops. And a lot of times they can discontinue that. But his symptoms came back. So we went back on another high dose. And that was when he said, Evie will probably need IVIG, which is the blood plasma transfusion. That is the cure for it. Hopefully that is the cure for it. We don't know how many doses it's going to take. At first we struggled with insurance to pay for it. It was the first 2 doses. So they do one treatment of IVIG is 2 consecutive days of IVIG treatment. So this past Thursday and Friday, he had his first one. And it was, we were really nervous about it, obviously, because we're just like, it's not an easy decision because you're giving your kid blood plasma from however many hundreds of people, and they're antibodies from other people that are going into your kid. So it wasn't an easy decision, but at the same time, it was easy because we knew he needed it. And we knew that he was working for a different company than he had worked with the last, like, 10 years. He was working with a company here. And their insurance was awful. It was like about, I think it was $1,300 a month for our family. So we decided to go with a shared insurance company instead. And with shared insurances, you do not, like, you pay. So, like, let's say someone in, like, Chicago, their kid fell and broke their arm. We get a letter that says, like, our shared payment that month is going to this family. So we'd actually send our money to that family. And we really like that because you kind of get, like, information on who you're helping with their health care. Unfortunately, though, they don't pay for this kind of stuff. We had not been on their plan for long enough for them to pay for IVIG, especially since it was something that he previously had. And they don't have to go by the most, like, regular insurance. Blue Cross, for instance, they have to pay for a pre-existing condition now since the Obamacare went on. But for a shared insurance, as a Christian-based insurance company, they do not have to follow those same rules, so they have their own. And you have to be on their insurance for 3 to 6 months before they will pay for anything major, and they won't do it at all if it's pre-existing. So we thought we were going to have to wait until Jason's insurance company with his work had open enrollment again, which wasn't going to be till November, like October, November. But thank goodness, thank the Lord again. Another miracle was that apparently if you have a life-changing event that happens, you can get put on insurance. And our life-changing event was that little thing over there, little baby Cozette. And so we were able to get insurance the day she was born, which was April 1st. So we got in the insurance. That's why it took so long for him to get his IVIG. I'm going to plug this in real quick because I don't want my computer to die. Man, I feel like I've just been talking this whole time. Oh, wait, I have. Okay, let me drink some water. Oh my gosh, I just spilled that all over myself. Great. Okay. I'm trying to like talk fast, so this is like the longest video ever. Oh, it's not plugged in the back. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Sorry, I had to actually plug it into the wall. Okay, so where was I? So anyways, he's getting IVIG. So he did really well. I wanted to update you guys on how he's doing right now. And he is doing good. He had his IVIG on Thursday. He did so good. He was so brave. They poked him, got the IV in, and he did amazing, guys. We filmed it. You guys are going to get to see it. That hopefully probably Tuesday and Wednesday, you'll probably see those videos, or Wednesday and Thursday. Some of those days you'll see them. But he did great. He did good. The first day, they pre-treat them with Benadryl, Tylenol, and an anti-nausea medication. I think they use Zofran. And that really helped. They give him IV fluids before the plasma. And so he did really, really good. He didn't throw up. His body responded well. The second day was harder. The second day, they couldn't get an IV, and they had to, they couldn't get an IV. And so they had to poke him like 4 times. But they ended up getting it in. His body didn't respond as well. He did have a little bit of an immune reaction. That night after we came home, he had 104 fever, and he just wasn't feeling well at all. So we gave him, obviously we were giving him Tylenol the whole time. Every 4 hours we've been giving him Tylenol, the anti-nausea medication, and Benadryl. So today is this Sunday? This is Sunday. And so Friday, sorry. So this is the, let's see, Thursday, Friday, sorry. So this is the 4th day. He's doing really well. Today we went to church this morning. He's been playing. He has not complained of a headache or nausea at all. And he didn't have any nausea medication or Tylenol today. So his body's definitely doing better. He's going to be doing IVIG 2 consecutive days again next month, and probably the following month after. It depends on if his symptoms come back or not. We have an appointment on June 7th with his PANDAS specialist to see. Somebody asked me up here why he was screaming in that video, and I should have said there was no reason he was screaming in that video. I started recording Shepherd, who you could see in the sand there, and from what I remember, he had something in his hand, and I was like, oh, let me see that or something. And he just started screaming. But that's what it was, is not, you wouldn't do anything to make him start screaming that way. He just, it could be anything. It didn't matter what it was. It could be a stranger that just looked at him and he didn't like it. So the brain it did weird things. Okay, so I want everybody to ask me questions. Because we get so many comments and we get so many messages about Ebby. So if you guys have a question and I haven't answered it in this video, ask me, because I want to address it here and I want to answer your guys' questions. We try to answer as many emails and comments that we can, but obviously that gets really hard too, because we have a big family and we're vlogging every day and we're editing. And so let's see, does Ebby remember how he felt? You know, I haven't asked him if he remembers how he felt, but I can tell you that when he was starting to get better, he had anxiety about if he was going to start having an episode, because it was like he didn't know how to control it when it was happening, but once it was over, he didn't like it, but he couldn't control it. So yeah. Someone asked what video. I showed a video of Ebby at some point in this video. You'd have to scroll back. How he was pre-treatment to PANDAS. What's the treatment supposed to do? So the IVIG, it cleans their blood plasma and puts in new good antibodies, which basically clear out and clean out all the bad antibodies that have been created in his body that basically attack the brain. So by having the new plasma and the new good antibodies, it's supposed to theoretically clean their blood and, you know, clean that and give them new plasma. So, hey, Shiloh, what are you guys doing? Sorry, they're being silly. Here, take this over there, okay? Sorry. I think they need to go to bed. Let's see. I learned that I have PANDAS. I learned that I have PANDAS a few weeks ago. Is the IVI treatment scary? I don't know how old you are, but I don't think it's scary. I think it's really important because not all PANDA specialists, from my understanding, pre-treat with fluids and anti-nausea medication. So make sure you get those. For Eddie, it went really well. I mean, he did have some adverse reactions like immune reactions, but I mean, he did really good. How have you been doing? How have I been doing? You can see my cheeks are flushed. That's how I've been doing. It's been a hard road. It's been long. I don't know, like the whole thing's emotional. Like when you're a mom and your kid is going through something hard and you know you have to make a hard decision and you know you have to make difficult choices, you just try and do the best you can. And you know, that's all that we can do. That's all that I could do. It was really hard. It was hard to see him go through. It was hard to see him go through the way that he was before his treatment. And as hard as it was to see him go through like IVIG and know that he's been getting all these antibiotics, it's been easier because you know he's getting healed, right? And it'll be a lifelong, his life will be better because of this. So yeah, that's good. And anybody that watches our vlog, like they know that I would like to treat my kids if they're sick with something as natural as possible, right? I think most parents on here, if you can treat it at home with a natural remedy and not pump a bunch of medicine in their body, you'll do what you can, right? But I am so grateful that there is modern medicine out there. Obviously, we've had to give Ebby a lot of antibiotics over the last 8 months, a lot. And does that scare me? Yes, because we don't know what it might do to his body. But at the same time, he needed it. And like, those are the times when you're like, yes, thank you, Lord, for modern medicine and antibiotics. Definitely give it to him. I would never not give that to him. But if my kid has a cough, you know, I think I can treat that at home, right? You know, so let's see. I've watched your videos for so long and you give me so much hope to be different than my parents. I'm so glad. Thank you so much. Always do the right thing, like the best thing. Use your intuition. And like we always say, like be epic and like live the epic life and inspire somebody. Because, you know, you guys all out there have a story like we have that can like change someone's life, help somebody else. And if we can just like put that good out there, it can change somebody's life. And when we get messages from people that say, hey, your story has like changed my life, or I saw it, you talked about this, and so I went and checked it out, or I got my kid tested for that and it changed our life. That to me is like the thing and why we share our vlog and like why we do our stories. I want to see what else other people are asking. I have a family member with autism. Is there any possibility that they have PANDAS? So from my understanding, if your kid has autism, there is definitely a chance that they have PANDAS. And I would just say, even if you know someone or someone who's been diagnosed with autism and you feel like maybe they could have PANDAS, it's such an easy thing to get tested for that, like, why not, right? Because it's curable. You can do the strep test in the office. It has to be oral and from the behind, because most of the time it's going to be the behind test. And you can also do a blood test, but you need to go to a PANDAS specialist because a lot of regular doctors are not familiar with PANDAS. I don't even think it's registered American Association of something. medical board yet because it is a new thing. And so that's why there's a lot of research going on with it right now. And that's why even like our panda doctors keeps notes and sends it in for this research. And it's just been really cool to be a part of it and to see how much it's benefited Ebby and a lot of kids in his office. Let's see. You should write a book. You know, Jason and I really want to write a book. We've talked about it before. We have could share a lot of things with you guys. We've been thinking about doing a podcast. I don't know if you guys would be interested in that, but we thinking about doing a podcast to sharing more of our life and our stories and encourage people, married people out there, teenagers, you know, all kind, you know, whatever. I don't know. You guys let us know if you're interested. How did Ebby's body react to the transfusion? So when we were getting the transfusion done, he did well. I mean, he was chatting with us and talking. He was tired. And he was weak. Like I would say his body was weak. Like every time he got up to go to the bathroom, he'd kind of wobble. But from what I've heard in stories that I've heard, Ebby took it really, really well. And he, responded well to it. Does Ebby have to go to therapist? Because I do. And there's also given me a lot of medication. He doesn't have to go to any therapy. Not at this point that we know of. His speech is improving. Because PANDAS affects the brain, it also affects the speech. So now that he's been cured of that, his PANDAS specialist, he hasn't recommended Ebby to go to a speech therapist yet. He said, we can just work on it at home. And obviously, if you guys have been watching, you've seen his improvement in his speech. So we're not worried about his speech at all at this point. Did you do GAPS with Ebby? Oh, yes, I meant to mention that. We did do GAPS diet. Well, we did Whole30 with him, which is light GAPS, except for you can have more foods. We did a strict diet with him for 30 days. That's what we were supposed to do pre-IVIG. We did that for 30 days, and then his doctor cleared him to just introduce the rest of the foods and just have a regular diet unless the food that he eats affects him, because prior to doing the Whole30, the food was affecting his brain, like it was affecting his personality. We haven't had any food issues since then though, and it could be just from the antibiotics. I don't know, but he's pretty much can eat a normal diet and he's been fine. So let's see. The kids. Let's see. Does Ebby have to go to the therapist? Oh, I already read that one. Let's see. Is there a chance that PANDAS could come back over time, like when he's older? Yes, there is. There is a chance. Yeah. What does PANDAS stand for? Okay, I want to remember what it stands for. It's pediatric. Let me look it up for you really quick. I meant to have to pull that up because I never remember the exact. So it's pediatric autoimmune neuropsychiatric disorder associated with streptococcal infections. It occurs when strep triggers a misdirected immune response, results in inflammation of the child's brain, and in turn, the child quickly begins to exhibit life-changing symptoms such as OCD, anxiety, tics, personality changes, decline in math and writing abilities, sensory sensitivities, speech delays, restrictive eating, and more. You guys can read all that on this website. You guys go to this website and it has all the information. It has stories on there, all of the symptoms, the treatments, and it also has a list of doctors in like your area. So say if you live in Seattle, you can look up and see if there's a PANDAS specialist in Seattle. Ebby has improved so much just September 2017. Sugar inhibits antibiotics from working as well as they should. Yeah, that's true. So that's one reason we did Whole30 with Ebby. He had no sugar for 30 days. We do still try to limit his sugar. His doctor said, you know, obviously it's summertime and all the kids are playing with neighbors. There's popsicles going around. So he can have sugar, but he shouldn't be having it every single day. So what we try to do is limit his sugar intake to weekends and maybe a day in the week. Sometimes it slips more than that because a neighbor gives him a popsicle or a neighbor kid gives him a treat or something. You can't always, grab it. But for the most part, his doctor said it should be fine. If we notice any big adverse reactions, we can always just take the sugar out again and do like Whole30. But so far, he's been doing really well. It's even hard for my husband to understand sometimes. Yeah, it can be really hard for a lot of people to understand what it does to your brain. Let's see. I'm gonna read you guys this. How is Jason? He's so cool. I know, isn't Jason awesome? He's actually hanging out with some guys tonight. They're having like a guy night at I think they went out for like a drink and a cigar or something. I don't know. He's having fun though, I'm sure. Will Ebby's kids have higher chances of getting PANDAS? No. So like I said, it's not genetic or anything. Anyone can get it. You can get it. I can get it. Adults, kids. It is from the streptococcus. I think that's how you say it. Bacteria that goes into the gut from different sicknesses. Let's see. Has anyone suggested a gluten-free diet for Ebby? Just curious. Yes. We do keep him as gluten-free as possible. We don't eat a ton of gluten. His doctor said it'd be okay for him to have a little bit. So like, for instance, one thing is he really likes corn dogs, but we buy gluten-free corn dogs for him. We try to do gluten-free bread as much as possible. Sometimes we don't. We'll use there's a company here in Utah that makes stone ground wheat bread. And so we have bought that. But for the most part, we don't keep a lot of wheat in the house anyways. But he does have it sometimes. How's the rest of the family helping and healing Ebby's symptoms? Everyone's just been supportive. I mean, we talked to all the kids before and just said, hey, Ebby's going through this. Let's be, we're going to support him and help him and be there for him. So I don't know, everyone's just been loving on him and letting him play with extra toys. And yeah, they've all been so sweet to him. You're fired, Ebenezer. What is that? What is that? How do you fire a 4-year-old? I don't even know. Oh, maybe it's like you're fired. Like you're cool. You're awesome. I'm going to take it that way. Will you upload this as a video afterwards? We'll keep that. Yeah, this video, we'll just keep it. Like when I turn it off, it'll just stay in there and anybody can watch it. So yeah, PANDAS is not contagious. I said that a couple of times, so I just want to emphasize that it's not contagious at all. Anyways, you guys, thank you for listening. I'm so grateful that so many people came on here to listen and just find out about Ebby. He's a super sweet kid, and we love him so much. And we're just really grateful for the medical community and for everyone out there who has ever donated blood and plasma, because there's so many kids out there that need it. And because of you guys who donate, they're able to get that. And Ebby's able to get treated for what he has. And we're just so grateful for that. Let's see. I just want to thank you so much for your channel. Ever since I learned I had PANDAS, this is like the one channel to go to learn more about me. Oh, you're so sweet, Yumi. Thank you. Thank you for your time and prayers. What happened to his puppy? Okay, so we got Ebby's puppy. I'm gonna do a video on this next week too, but I'll just do a quick. I'll tell you guys really quick. We got Ebby. Eden was her name. We got her in July when we moved here, and we got her because we didn't have a PANDAS diagnosis yet, and Ebby responded really well to animals. So we thought we would get him a dog, and at that point thought we would be training this dog to be a service dog for him, because more of like an emotional support dog, but we needed to train him as a service dog so he could go into stores with us, because Ebby, with his aggression and his like emotional attacks, if he had a dog with him that could calm him down, that's what would have helped. So that's why we needed to train it as a service. So we got the puppy. Long story short, we're going to share this in a video next week. So you can, that was the same time that we decided to put Hanny and Kai in school. Hannahniah, Shiloh, and Ezrah in school. The only reason that we ever decided to put them in school, because we love homeschooling. We love homeschooling so much. The only reason we put them in school was because I felt like I had to focus time on Ebby. We had to figure out what was wrong with him. I thought at one point we were going to be taking him to like an occupational therapist, and we'd be doing that multiple times a week. And I just wasn't, I didn't want my kids suffering, not learning it from me at home. So we decided to put them in school. That was why we did that. Once they were in school and I was trying to take care of Ebby and I was pregnant and I had Shepherd, poor Eden was in her crate down in our basement. It's not like a bad basement. It's like a nice area, but still she was downstairs in our crate. Probably 60 to 70% of the day. And it was just, we didn't like it. Like, we are not the type of people that feel like you should keep your dog locked in a crate or locked up anywhere. It's just not fair. It's inhumane. We just don't, that's not what we like. I felt so sad for her. She was peeing and pooping on our carpet. She was not being trained like she should have been being trained. Because Hanny is an amazing dog trainer. She was the one that was going to be training Eden and taking care of her. And I just didn't have time to do it. And I know that sounds like an excuse, but you guys, when you have so much going on, you're like, this dog is peeing all over the house. We cannot, it has to go in the crate, right? And she was kind of getting disobedient because no one was paying as much attention to her. So when she was disobedient, we would pay attention, like, oh my goodness, she's on the carpet. Anyways, like I said, long story short, so we decided it was best for Eden if we put her in a better home, someone that could pay attention to her. And because she was an amazing dog, she was awesome. She was so sweet and loving, but we didn't have the time and attention to do it. So fast forward, we gave her, she's with an awesome family that lives near us, and she just spilled water all over the hard drive. It's okay. It's all right. Okay, sorry guys. She just spilled on accident water on my hard drive. So hopefully this is okay. Anyways, so what was I going to say? Anyway, so she's with a really awesome family. They have 2 kids and they just love animals and had tons of time for her. But it is really sad because shortly after that, Ebby got his diagnosis, and Hanny had come to me and said that she wanted to be homeschooled again. Shiloh wanted to stay in school at first. Anyways, that's a whole nother story. We'll talk about that another time. I don't want to be on here for too long. So basically that's why we rehomed her, but we'll go into it more in a video next week. Let's see. Thank you for praying for Ebby so much. Let's see, just a question. Do you guys watch Sam and Nina? I do watch Sam and Nina sometimes. We saw them at CVX last year. They probably have no idea who we are. We're like a teeny tiny channel compared to them, right? Would you recommend homeschooling? I recommend homeschooling absolutely if you can if you can do it. I was homeschooled and I was not schooled. My parents did not school me. So homeschooling is great, but you have to actually homeschool, right? So did you do an all about blank video on AL or AL? The kids already. All about, I'm not sure what that comment means. What's AL? You'll have to clarify that. Shout out to Ellen Lee for her channel, Ellen Lee. Thank you. Let's see, Ebby, let's see, how long do you plan to breastfeed? Oh, that's off topic, but that's fine. I plan to breastfeed as long as possible, as long as Cozette wants to. I mean, I'm not going to breastfeed her if she's 5 years old. I'm not that crazy, but let's see. I meant to say all, not all. Okay, let me read your comment again then. You might have to write your comment again. I think it went up and I don't have the scroll ability on my, oh, maybe I do. Maybe actually, oh, I can. Okay, I lost your comment. You'll have to write it again. Oh, did you do an all about blank video on all the kids already? Yes, I did. That should just be in Get to Know Us playlist, I think. There should be one in there. Do you guys want to see Cozette right now? She's so cute. You want to go see her over by the swing? See, my sister and I were pulled out of school and neglected. That's sad. Don't homeschool if you're just going to neglect your kids, right? Because that's not right. We've gotten a lot of comments about homeschool. Like, why do I never see you homeschool? She must never do anything with her kids. Obviously, everyone gets bad comments like that. The reason you guys haven't seen a lot of homeschool is because they were in school until Christmas. Then Christmas break came, and we decided to homeschool again at that point. I was a couple months away from having Cozette. We decided to just take a break from homeschool. They did some online stuff, and they were still doing like some of their book stuff. But we just kind of have taken a break. But we're going to be picking up now, doing some school over the summer and fully back into it by the time August comes. But that's kind of the beauty of homeschool. If your family's going through something, you can take a break because there's always time to catch up. And usually with homeschool, if you're homeschooling your kids, they're learning at a faster rate anyways. Let's see. I want to see her. Oh, yeah. Do you guys want to see Cozette? She's so cute, you guys. Hanny said Cozette's being mean because she won't cry. I told Hanny, like, well, I'm on the video. If Cozy starts to cry, you can pick her up and hold her. And she hasn't. Okay, I'm going to stop her swing for a second. She might.
Hopefully she cries.
Hanny's like, hopefully she cries. Let's see. You just want to see how cute she is. Look at her. Oh my gosh, she got her ears pierced. Who knew that? If you guys follow us on Instagram, you saw that she got her ears pierced. It's probably not in my Instagram stories anymore, but look at how cute we did. And we have that video too. We'll be sharing that video at the end of the week, this next week. But look at her little toes. She's so cute. She's adorable. She's still sleeping now. It's like, she's pretty much ready to sleep the entire night. So, oh, there's Hanny. Look at how beautiful you are.
You said I'm beautiful.
You are beautiful. She's still wearing her church dress. You look so pretty.
I was too tired to sit down.
Yeah, really good. We've been watching, is that Full House?
Yes.
Oh, that's creepy. That's creepy. We watched the old Full House from like the 80s and 90s. We like Full House. Yes. Sometimes at night after the kids go to bed, we're like, let's watch Full House.
We watch Full House all the time.
That's fine. We love Full House.
It's better than Fuller House.
Yeah, it's way better. It's way better. It's such a good show.
Except they're dancing and their clothes.
See, someone said, let's see, Brianna said, you're beautiful. Hanny is beautiful. See? Do you guys have an Instagram? Our Instagram is Epik Brand and Family. I really should change it to the Epik Life. I tried to do that, but apparently someone else has that Instagram.
Wait, what?
So it's different. Yeah, it's really weird. So it's just Epik Brand and Family, which is what this channel used to be. So
right, yeah.
I keep trying to scroll with my finger because it was not touch screen.
You can't
Let's see. When you teach your kids history in school, do you teach them about creation or evolution? I love your videos. That's a great question. We teach both. Creation and evolution. You know both.
No, I do, yeah.
Yeah, the reason that we do that is because we believe in creation, okay? But we want them to know about evolution as well. We want them to know both sides because we believe that they need to know both sides so they can be able to, I don't know, what do you call it, Hanny?
What?
Like you need to know both because you need to, I'm trying to think of the right word.
Be a person.
I don't know. They just need to know both sides. So we actually teach both. I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. Let's see. My name is Samantha, and I love Full House. Yay, Full House is awesome. Hanny's 13.
No, like this.
What is it?
13.
13. Oh yeah, Hanny's learning
13.
sign language too.
Trying.
That's one of her summer school things is she's learning sign language. Why do you use the word epic? I've explained that. Let's see, epic is because epic is being different, and
because we've always said we're
always like, oh, that's epic.
Well,
like,
even before our show, we've always joked around and we're like epic.
Yeah, we're like, oh,
we're awesome.
We're epic because, or like we'll refer to other people as epic because like they've shared a story that's changed someone's life. That's epic. Like
epic.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
I don't know. We've always used epic.
it's always been a family thing. Will Ebby still be on antibiotics after his treatment? He's going to be on antibiotics for the next 2 weeks. Then I believe they're going down to a maintenance dose after that, and we'll see if symptoms come back. But he's also doing IVIG. We're just kind of playing it. We'll be seeing his doctor every couple weeks. Oh, you've been learning ASL, isn't it? I think we're going to look up some YouTube videos and stuff.
Yeah.
Let's
wanted
see.
to do it in-
Hebrew names, not Jewish. Let's see. Today's flood watch. Yes, that's funny. What was your question, Brianna? Oh, the ASL thing. Yeah, Hanny's been. We're gonna be doing you can just look at videos on YouTube and stuff, but also we're gonna try to find most colleges will have an ASL class, and that's what we're gonna be seeing if she's not. Do you like your mom?
She's not starting yet though. She wanted to. Yeah, I want my mom to have elite triplets because she had triplets, and I can hold one, and Mom can hold one, and Dad can hold one because all three of us always fight for her. Yeah. So all three of us can hold one.
We are not gonna have triplets,
yes,
guys.
Yes. Can we at least adopt twins? You can have twins. So if we had twins, at least I would get one every single minute of the day.
Oh so my goodness, you're so crazy. She's crazy, guys. All right, we gotta end this because I'm hungry. I made some lasagna for dinner, and I'm so hungry. I gotta go eat. But we love you guys. Thank you so much for watching Ebby's story and listening, and we just really appreciate all you guys. One last thing they said, let's see. Is the treatment that Ebby is having a cure, or is there no cure for pandas? It is supposed to be a cure. So it just depends on how many treatments it takes. But the end goal is for a complete cure, yes. So anyways, you guys, we love you guys. Thank you for watching. Go live the epic life and share your story because you can inspire someone with your story. That's what we're trying to do here. So love you guys. See you in our video tomorrow. You guys get to see us go on an awesome, fun hike. It was so fun, and the kids were so cute. They kept bringing up me flowers.
They're cute. I didn't think they were very cute.
They were so cute.
Me and the boys were walking up the trail, and it was really beautiful. But we were thinking about wanting to play Zelda. The mountains reminded us of Zelda.
That's funny. All right, guys. Bye. See you guys tomorrow. Let's see if we can.